Yes, I'm awake, and I'm coming up with game ideas. Well, I've got a template for like how my games work, because there's the main game that you purchase, and that's like a story game. That one is probably like pure game, like it's Cyberpunk 2077 style. Like it's, you know where you're going. There's an open world, but you're very aware of where you're going. Like you don't get lost and stuff. But this is an open world. There are districts to the town, and then there's the main downtown area, and then there are ways of connecting those areas, and they're connected through skate parks. So like it's a skate course. It's a skate course. It's a skate course both ways, going there and back. There's a skate course. Whenever you want to play the game, you can go play at any of those skate areas, and you can even skate in this area. But the purple areas are better for skating. So when you buy an expansion pack for the game, say you buy Cyber Horror, and it's for me Cyber Horror is actually Cyber Horror like 2800. It's not 2070. It's further in the future. And cyber horror is the story of a woman that's enslaved, or a person that's enslaved, and they're a prostitute to these powerful corporate people, and they use their whore skills to upgrade their cyber skills, and upgrade their talents, and they use their horror skills to learn more skills, and then they fight back against the corporation. So there's this downtown area, which I was thinking that was an expansion pack before, but I wasn't involved with Cyberpunk, so clearly, like that would be my first game would be Cyber Horror, where she's a gymnast, and like but she doesn't have to be a whore. Like she can skate a lot to earn points and stuff like that, because you can earn points for whoring. But so when there's a game though, like the main game, there's their expansion stories. So you can add characters, you can have like new areas, like there are new levels, and so that like you can expand the story. But you can also like have a game based on the environment that it's built in for. So like this, like the ancient Luxor slave wars type game could have like this is Luxor, and then there are expansion stories to the game, and then there are expansion games. So like you can go fishing, you can go hunting, you can do the hacker expansion story where you're getting trained in computer science, because these are education technology games. So when you buy an expansion pack, like say you want to buy the snowboarding game for Cyberpunk, well, like it doesn't matter if it's a ski resort in Cyberpunk. Like it's still a snow place, but it doesn't mean that we can't like have man-made ski resorts. But there's also the resort area. So like this is like if you were to buy that, then like you can walk around the ski resort, but you can also go off and ski that level. And so like, but like there, like you can have a snowboarding game for every game you do, and you can have a racing game. And I was talking about like how we can train mechanics. Like I would like, and I would like to work on my engine. Like I want to like it to tell me like in the tutorial, or like in the game, like I want it to tell me how to fix things. And then like, but an expert is never told how to fix things. But like when you're on the beginner level, like it's going to tell you like you need to remove that bolt, and you're working on the car. The problem with car games is I don't think they're as good as like a snowboarding racing game, or like a skateboarding racing game, or a rollerblading racing game, or like a motorcycle racing game. So I don't know exactly how to do racing games, because I do want to work on cars, but then I would rather race motorcycles. So there's the surgeon expansion game where like you're controlling robots to do surgery, where it's training surgeons, or it's training people in general how to do surgery. Like I think our society is freaking crazy when like you have an anesthesiologist. There's one person that does the anesthesia. Yes, their entire career. It's taken them 10 years. That's how hard it is to decide how much of a drug to give you and to decide if they should give you more drugs if you wake up during surgery. It really takes that many years to freaking decide on medicine like that much. Like, you can't have like this is like the guidance, like this is what you need to know. Like, this class took a regular doctor 3 days, and he's an anesthesiologist. But that's not how it works. There's one anesthesiologist. You have to have an anesthesiologist. And for me, like, America is like crazy freaking shit. Like, I think that like half of our jobs are like making sure that no one's smart enough to say exactly the dosage on the medication. There's no one smart enough to go through school so that they can do jack shit. Like, no offense, anesthesiologists, but really, like, you guys should be other doctors. Like, the fact that there's like a dedicated anesthesiologist is like yeah, like at a university maybe, but like you're at a hospital, like your job is anesthesia. I'm still working on my template for video games because I need to figure out like what my video games would be, because like I've talked about, I want to start this company. It's Agile Entertainment. I was going to take over Las Vegas, and I was going to get rid of the gangsters, and I was going to like turn it into like an extension of Hollywood, because I was going to take over Hollywood too. And so like I was going to use it to produce media, like film and TV shows and stuff like that. One of the TV shows I've talked about is this story about a child who's a genius, but really like his parents are like kind of crazy about like letting him do things, and they're like very serious billionaires. So he always plays this game where he gets to do surgery with a robot, and his parents buy him the robot. And so like he wants to do surgery, and they want him to do surgery. It's kind of like this girl who was a little kid who couldn't do horse competitions in the United States, so she goes to like she went to Eastern Europe to go compete in horse jumping. And so like that's kind of where this story comes from. So like he goes to like, let's say like Moshi, Africa, and works in the hospital there, and they're the African doctors that teach him how to do surgery. Like, even though like he already knows how to do surgery, because he had to do like, he's gonna do them at his house on dummy before he goes to Africa. And so like we can make it pretty realistic, and it could be a pretty good surgery training tool. But is that the main story? In this situation, it probably would be. But generally, like, I think the surgery expansion on the game would be an expansion, because like there's a racing expansion where you can work on the cars, and like my opinion on that is that like they're elf cars always, but they have regular engines, so you can work on the regular engine. Like, it's still a Ford Fusion engine, but like it's for elves, so it's not actually a regular car. It's just the engine's the same. The vacation expansion pack can always change based on where you are. Like, they go on vacation to Mount Kilimanjaro, and they probably ski there, probably. But it doesn't have to be exact Moshi, because like I'm not trying to recreate Moshi. Like, I'm trying to like recreate Africa with like inspiration from somewhere, and probably Tanzania would be a pretty good spot with the mountains and the animals and stuff like that. So like when there's a game, like there's a criminal expansion game, like you can be a criminal in Moshi, and so like there would be Moshi, and then there are the villages, and stuff like that. So like baseball expansion games, like I think they're fine no matter what. I don't think you need to do pro baseball to do it. It's kind of like we've got PGA Tour golf. Who can you play with? Well, you can play with John Cena, the wrestler. You can play with Steph Curry. You can play. In the last video that I got cut off while I was talking about how like it's hard to decide I want to do a baseball expansion game, because I know it's perfect, because there's something moving towards you. You swing the controller. It's timing. Like it's the perfect kind of thing to do in a game. It's kind of like golf. It's perfect. You swing, like it's like a natural thing to do with the club. But like in the golf game, like you don't need the pro golfers. Like, no one gives a crap about the pro golfers, probably, I would think. Even though you could have like a pro golfer, they can play on it. You can change out the players. But baseball, I think they might actually want the main players, and that's why it's hard to decide to do a baseball expansion game. Soccer and hockey, like at least like in like an Africa game, like soccer is intuitive. Like like hockey is a really good game. I haven't played soccer. Like I think hockey and soccer is a very, very, very similar game. I think hockey's probably better because you can fight. Which, granted, like we need to make sure they can fight. Like if we have a baseball expansion game, like you need to be able to charge the mound. The party life expansion game, like you're in Africa and you can go party down and that's like kind of where you can go and have sex and stuff. Like if you want to go have sex normal, like without having to pay a whore, but you could pay a whore. But like I do think we always need to have a whore expansion game. It's kind of weird. Like gladiator expansion games, like a one-on-one fighting game, like a Street Fighter type thing, or like an MMA type thing, which I've never played MMA. Wrestling would be like a good example. Like wrestling's a really, really good way to go. So MMA is kind of intuitive. Like it's two people fighting. So hunting and fishing, I combined them. Like clearly, like hunting and fishing could be part of that game. I don't know how good it is. Hacker expansion game, like probably isn't always going to be included, but it's a computer science training game. So like this, I think is probably like 20 to 25 gigs. This is probably 20 gigs. This is probably 20 gigs. These, I mean, it really depends. Because there might be multiple surgery expansion games, and they might be on average 10 gigs, but they could be 20 gigs. Or they might be on average 15 gigs. So, like, when you have computer games, like one of the biggest problems you run into is the size of the computer game. And like right now, like Avatar's 100 gigs right now. And like that's like when a gamer chooses to play Baldur's Gate to put it on their computer, they're choosing 150 gig. Like, I am still thinking about my open world game, which like it would put most game developers out of business. I think you'd have a lot of trouble competing with me. But the reality is that I'd be developing more games. And so I would be hiring more game developers. So like there would be more game developers, but it'd be like impossible to compete with me because my open world's the shit. And the reality is that I don't like going between places, like walking and running and stuff. And like I do think that this should be a skate park and this should be a skate park. So each time you go across, like you can max out your score. And when you max out your score, you level up. But really, the more you do it, the more you level up your skills, and that's how you score higher. I've decided to do a casino because, like, you can bet. And I think that people will probably bet primarily off of, like, serious gamers that are handicapped gamers. Because, like, your scores, like, can set your handicap. So in golf, like, even in golf, like you can bet on a golf game and that person has a handicap, and a handicap like in golf, like generally is like a 72 at a certain level of difficulty course, because not all courses are the same. So that's like supposed to be a 0. But really, like if you're a 0 generally. And so like zeros go against zeros, and you can see the zeros record. So you can bet on people's golf games, but you can bet on their, MMA and like Street Fighter style games, because like the Gladiator expansion game might end up being 2 games. You can bet on hockey games and football games and soccer games. Like I'm talking about online. You don't really bet on hunting. But like when the Party Life expansion is a multiplayer online game where you can meet people and stuff like that. And like you can have a crazy life and like you can have sex with people and stuff. And like, and then the dating expansion game is also a multiplayer game connected to that, so you can date people on the internet. And the casino, you can also gamble against people, like playing poker and stuff like that. The racing game is Elves Racing, and the elves are also doing repairs on the miniature engines that are the same as regular engines. So Mount Kilimanjaro was what I was talking about. This idea for this game for this child surgeon whose family's like a super billionaire family. But I also thought about it, and I think South Africa really could be the shit, like for a game. Like it's kind of like perfect. And And then TV show and movie sets that I create through my company. Tokyo has to be one. Singapore has to be one. Seoul probably needs to be one. Indonesia, I feel like, is intuitive because like it's kind of exotic, but then also they have they have So generally, if there is an expansion game, like to the game that involves skating, there's an expansion story involving skating, and so I think that will have more skate parks. I don't know how long it takes to develop games with skate parks, but generally, I think it's something you can always change and you can always redo, and you can always sell someone new skate parks, and people can bet on pro. He's a pro skater on the internet. I don't know how that works. I don't the problem is it's really just it's combinations of buttons that make you do something, and those combinations of buttons when you're doing gymnastics and you're playing the horror expansion game, we'll do the same thing. All right, so there are Star Wars cities. Because I do think Disney probably feels like they're getting taken over. But then there's ancient Alexandria, Egypt, and I think that these cities have a tendency to be able to transform, because we can even put, say, we do ancient Sudan with pyramids and stuff like that, and then that transforms into modern Sudan. That can also transform into future Sudan, because when we're doing Indonesia. Well, not Indonesia, but when we're doing that child surgeon game in Tanzania, Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro, that's actually in the future. So that's not even the current city. And so the cities shouldn't be standard cities, which I feel like San Antonio should be added now that I thought about it, because there are the missions, there's the South River, there's the river walk towards the south side, and then there's the rest of the river walk, and then there's also and then you could do Bernie. Or green even, because I'm one of those people who will just go with green. But Fredericksburg would work. Austin has things about it. But really Texas is not the best place to do it. I saw the San Antonio golf game, and it makes me go, no, don't make me do San Antonio. But I'm from San Antonio, and I'm from the north side, and the north side kind of could work, but it doesn't work. It has to be Missions, south side, or missions all the way up to the other side of the Riverwalk, and then maybe 2 or 3 small towns, because that's but the center would probably be the Mission, maybe. I don't know, because that's too far south. So the center, I guess, would be downtown. But it would be the Riverwalk downtown. It wouldn't even be all of downtown. The reality is all these you don't do an entire area. It's too much memory. I believe in condensing this area so that it's just this part's cool, and then it's shortening it, but really, because it's connected with. When I started coming up with ideas to do gaming, the whole goal was online education. It's teaching people stuff, and that's why I really do need to teach people in general how to be CPAs and stuff like that. And I think that people usually do want to know CPA stuff if they're a business owner. But in the event that there are new laws, it's nice to be able to tell business owners things about the legal system. And so that's why a lot of these are games that are more practical than you realize. I've added some more things on there. I've added more places like La Paz. I think that generally, if you're in the old time, if you're in ancient Rome, or you're in Luxor, or you're in ancient Memphis, or you're in ancient Sudan, or ancient Jerusalem, or ancient Inca, or all those ancient, that game is going to be a biking game. You're a BMX biker. But if you're in modern times or in the future, you'll probably be riding a skateboard, but I think you can ride a bike. I don't know. You'd probably have to get the bike expansion, and then you'd be able to ride a bike everywhere, hopefully. I don't know exactly how hard everything is. I ended up lumping things together because I think that there's a ball connected to someone. It's a similar algorithm. But basketball is different. Really, it is a similar concept compared to baseball, which has different controls, in golf, which actually is more similar to baseball. So when we come up with TV show and movie sets, we'll do an open world for it. And so like I have this movie that I came up with the first time I was in jail about this guy who grows up in Guam, and he like has the sensei. He's like grows up doing taekwondo on the beach, and he moves to Colorado Springs to the Olympic Training Center, and he falls in love with this girl who's also a taekwondo person that's training for the Olympics, and they start doing underground pit fighting. And so I think that would be Manitou Springs would be the center of that open world, but you could go downtown. I get maybe you could maybe even go to Monument. I'm not sure exactly what you do, but that's another one of those fighting games because it's a fighting movie. Because what happens is his girl dies, and he wants to get revenge, and he can't. He finds out that he's not the best fighter. So it's like a blood sport type film, which easily translates to anytime you do martial arts films, you can do a gladiator expansion fighting story, like, which wouldn't be the story, like that'd be the. I feel like I made a breakthrough when I figured out how to do elf racing, because initially I was like, what I need to do is have like I can turn your Ford Fusion into like a convertible, or you can turn it into a convertible. You have to do the work yourself. You have to do the body work. You have to like know exactly like what it takes to do that body work for some reason. So I was thinking that initially, this is from Alibaba. That's from like some random search. Like I was thinking, if you have two players, like if you want a rider with you, it slows you down. But I'm not sure if you want to have a rider with you ever. I think you probably want to be able to shoot backwards and forwards, no matter what, because you do need to be able to shoot. But I think the key is like making the car like this, because like the road's bigger and you have more space to move, because a racing game is realistic, right? So like there's a racetrack that's a certain width. You have to stay on that racetrack. But I'd rather have a smaller car that like moves, that has like more space to move around. But I do kind of want it to be sort of realistic. And I do want to be able to see little Rainbow Satanica poking her head out. And I do want her to be able to have like a goth vehicle. I don't know what kind of vehicle she'll have. And I don't know what kind of vehicle Shauna Ray will have. But like, I think that like, you can make your own elf. So like in Cyberpunk, like you can kind of make your character look like you a little bit if you can figure out how to. If you try hard enough, probably you can. In Avatar, you can make your character look a certain way if you really, really try. In this, like you can make yourself into a little person, and like I think the key to the game is like being able to set the engine. Like you can say like engine repair type is not the same as the engine, because you can upgrade your current engine, and that's done by robots. Say that you like have like a Ferrari or something and you want to upgrade something. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but like I think that like, but when you do the repair work, I think you'll always you'll always upgrade the cheaper engine. So like you will say you have that type of engine, but it will still compete with the other cars, because everyone has the cheap engines that's competing against you until you've upgraded your engine. I don't even know how it works, but I do know that like you need to be able to drive a car that looks like that, with like the head poking out on a track that's like, it's kind of like Mario. They have Mario Kart also, and Little Big Planet does it too, racing type stuff. A lot of them do it. I mentioned that I want to do an open world game in Indonesia, and the reality is I don't have a story about Indonesia, and so now I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? Like, I think that I have to do a story about the king from the orangutan clan who like he's having deforestation problems from palm oil, and everyone believes in and certain people are trying to get him to fight back against the people that keep farming the palm oil and taking down their trees and taking their land, and they usually spend their time begging for food from the humans, and that's why they don't really want to fight the humans, because they beg the humans for food. But then what happens is like the humans start taking his family members and kidnapping them. And so he has to enlist the Komodo dragons to fight back and to go find his wife. And because they took his wife and they took his daughter. And his son's with him. And they have to go and try to fight against the humans to try to save their place. So like, but then we could have an open world for Indonesia, based probably out of Jakarta, I think, because it does look like it could look really nice. Like it does look a lot like Tokyo sometimes if you're on the street. I do like the way that the people look there. I like that you can have connected like temples and stuff like that. I like that you have animals to fight. And, because if you're a human there and you're not playing as an animal, do the animals fight you and like you don't know how to not fight the animals? I think you have to protect yourself from like animals no matter what when you're in the open world in Indonesia. Yeah. So, I don't know where Rainbow Satanic is from. Like, I don't know where we would do and like, okay, so like when you build an open world, I think the more time you spend on it, the more detail it has. Like, I think they spent a lot of time on Keanu Reeves. But like, I also think that like when you're doing an animation, like there's a difference between an animated video and a movable animation, but you can move with Keanu Reeves and you can look at him from different angles. And I think that like we're always going to have like a question about like how much electricity we want to use. Like in order to like push the animations in the like RPG parts of the story, like where like you're having conversations, you're deciding the track of the story based on the conversations you have. Like and like I think that like we're always gonna like we're gonna have to make a decision like how much do you need to move the camera. Like, and like, if you are having to move the camera, like, are we doing as good of a job as we should be doing with the storytelling? So I've been talking about building the biggest movie studio in the world because I was going to build the biggest online education company in the world. And I was going to do a government, make a project on online education, or just like education technology in general, like trying to make education better and trying to educate people in like certain things. So part of that plan was taking over Las Vegas and then turning it into this giant movie studio combined with the California movie studios because I was going to take over Hollywood because they're in trouble for overthrowing the government with their censorship. And like, I mean, if there's anything, this is the way they're censoring. Like it's like malicious. It's like the people that are talking in your ear constantly are trying to do a genocide on you, and that's what it feels like constantly. So I was trying to figure out where Sun Wukong went, and I think that Sikkim, India, which is like the Himalayas, which maybe you could even go all the way to Uttar Pradesh, which would be like Delhi, New Delhi, and that would be cool to build a open world city in. Sichuan, China, I think would be cool. In Xi'an, China, like we have to. I don't know how to say it. We have to. Banff, I feel like we can do a story about Blackfeet Indians, and it would give us an excuse to do Banff. Okay, so like when I'm building movie sets, I want them to have relationships with digital sets, and so like. A lot of the things I want to do is like make sure that like I have this kind of built, like so that like I can have actors sitting right there. But this also can be built in a video game, and like so like when you're doing a movie set, like you can do indoors. Like you would never believe how easy it is for me to trick you that I'm indoors somewhere I'm not. Like that's very, very, very simple. Like there are like 5 different indoor rooms I could use and change to do like almost any movie. But I do have to do like outdoor areas, like little tiny town type things. And so I was thinking Monterey, California might not be the worst place to do. Pismo wouldn't be bad either, but I liked Monterey more, I think, probably when I was there. Banff, Canada, like I said, it would be for the Blackfeet story. This would be more for the Sun Kong, like very, very like long. Like it's a TV series, I think. Sun Wukong, I feel like you can make so fun because he's kind of fun. But there are 2 different sides of Sun Wukong. There's the I will kill you, I will fight you. And then there's that, I'm China Kong. You know, like, and like the reality of Sun Kong, reality about Sun Kong is like, I see him as kind of like the guy that's like, oh, why do I not look like you? I'm a monkey. And everyone goes, oh yeah. I think it's going to be critical for me to figure out like where my movie sets are that I have to initially build, because I do have certain movies that I need to make. I have the film about the transgender metrosexual equestrian who he's a goth. Well, no, he is a goth. His boyfriend Andy, what is Andy? I don't know. I can't remember about Andy. Like what was up with Andy? But it's a heist film because he can't be in the equestrian competition because he's not in the database. So they have to hack the equestrian thing. So I'm from Kerrville, so I do think that like part of Kerrville might need to be built, like the Dam store area, and maybe Walmart, because you have to do Walmart no matter what. Walmart's like everywhere, so all you have to do is do Walmart, and the next thing you know, you have Walmart. But I do think that the South Side of San Antonio is basically like what I really care about is like Riverwalk, downtown area, that cool like sphere area with the park, and then Riverwalk to the missions that includes the aquifer. All right, so beach towns, Pensacola Beach, I'd probably want to do. Or Panama, or yeah, probably wait, that's Panama City. Which one is that? I don't even know which one it is. Pensacola City Beach is not the same. All right, so there's like Bolinas, California. I think it would be solid. Like I think Vancouver has something in common with Arcata, but I don't know if it has the same trees, and that's why I think maybe Arcata, California, might be the way to go. Because you like when you think about like an open world in the Pacific Northwest, you have like Arcata, California, like you have the Portland area, but you have other areas in Oregon. Like you don't have to do Portland at all. Like you could just go straight to the Willamette Valley, and then you have like Crater Lake, and then you have Mount St. Helens with all those giant Douglas firs and the big ferns. And I think that Arcata has really nice ferns up in Northern California that make it, they're like purplish, and it just gives it a nice color to the landscape. I think Vancouver probably has pretty serious forest too, because it has that same fog going off the coast. It's kind of cold. It's like the ultimate nature city. I don't know what like areas look really nice. So, but I do think that like when you select certain places to like do a set for, like you're kind of saying like, I will do cowboy type, country type films out of my Fredericksburg set. So I've been up early diagramming my game because I've been playing Cyberpunk, BBS, yeah, www.github.com/glasscodebender is old BBS. I have new posts with BBS in Clovis Security. But I've been diagramming this video game because I've thought about it a lot, and I mean by a lot I mean like for a few days, and I've been thinking about the San Antonio one, and the Riverwalk has to be Christmas Riverwalk because it can be night, it can be day. Like what I've been talking about is building. Look at this hair. I didn't care, just kind of threw it up. Yeah, what I've been talking about is building infrastructure, like digital infrastructure, and I mean you can overdo it. And you can also, because once you overdo it, you can just remove it. Like, I don't have to include it in my game. Oh, man. So, like, if I build a lot of the South Side in a digital format, or like the downtown area of San Antonio in a digital format, I don't have to include it in the game because I do want this to be less than 25 gigs for the core game. Because, like right now, like, you get a game and it could be 150 gigs and your computer is taken by that game, and you don't want to only play that game. Like even if that game's the best, you don't only want to play that game. Like you want to be able to switch games, unless it's Cyberpunk for some reason. Like Cyberpunk, like I have not been switching games And I've beaten Oda, but I had to Google how do you beat Oda, and it told me use a sword. And I was like, oh, well, that's good to know. And then I beat him, and it was still hard, but I still think the game wants you to beat him if you're doing good against him. And I beat Adam Smasher too, and Adam Smasher you just have to kind of beat. And Oda you have to like Oda like is like actually that much work. Adam Smasher like it does not want you to beat him. You have to like keep it took me I think probably twice against Adam Smasher still, but like I came in hard, like I came in with like a plan, and the second time, the first time like I really fought him for a long time, and then I lost. Um, so um, yeah, so Kerrville when I build Kerrville, that or it's not Kerrville, it's just Fredericksburg, the damn stores, because there's this area like it's the damn liquor store and the damn laundromat and the damn this and everything's the damn. That's like it's walking distance to the damn area, and it's walking distance to like to Enchanted Rock, and it's walking distance to Green Hall. Like everything's like it's not Fredericksburg, and so the main things I added to this game, which this is like an example of one of my open worlds, because what I've talked about is like building digital sets, because like I want to build I want to do animated films. And do I do animated stuff? Yeah. Do I do it well? No. Like you have to dedicate that much of your life to it. But I'll get a lot of people to dedicate their lives to it, and I'll train a lot of people, and like I'll get people working on the nitty gritty details to make the cities look as real as like this guy's making the people. Because my opinion about Cyberpunk is like they don't have the biggest staff of all time. Like they're not the biggest company. So like say that they have 30 companies working for them, and they're saying, well, this is like the actual sets that we care about right now, because right now we're doing that much crap. Like that's hard, but like generally I'm going to be in favor of that. Even though like clearly like daytime comes, that's life. During daytime we might actually use more humans, and like that's my opinion about a lot of things is like if they're not fighting, why can't I just do like special effects work where like it's a human, like it's a Scanner Darkly type thing, like which it's not, but like I'm pretty sure like he actually filmed people. I don't think that's full animated. Like it's definitely like I don't know, like which I'm not going for a Scanner Darkly. I like the way Cyberpunk looks. I think it works. Like I think like I think you do want it to be animated clearly, and I do think you kind of want to blur the blur reality though, and blurring reality for me would be like not animating backgrounds, because like really like I mean it is animated, like it's special effected, it's animated, but like really like it's not like full 3D modeling type animation. So I've been working on my Colorado open world plans because like I'm not exactly sure how to make it interesting enough. I think that the reality is that bears need to attack you, and mountain lions need to attack you. So you need a situation in which bears and mountain lions will attack you. And my opinion is that it's a future dictatorship where River Dolphin the Fourth is in charge. His great grandfather River Dolphin was a very important man, and he decided that like he was going to ban hunting in Colorado. And so what happens is that like he takes over, and the animals have actually taken over, and you have to fight against River Dolphin the Fourth. And so apparently I'm making a future movie about Colorado in the future. So like, but you can like, I think generally like you can snowboard downhill from Manitou Springs through Old Colorado City to downtown. Like as long as like you're going downhill, and like you can snowboard places you're not allowed to snowboard. Like you can snowboard in Rocky Mountain National Park, like, and I think that like you can snowboard, probably like you can snowboard all the way from Telluride to Manitou Springs, to Garden of the Gods, to downtown Colorado Springs, to the 16th Street Mall, but then you have to take the lift up to the top of Rocky Mountain National Park. I don't really know how it works. Because I think that Colorado, like, generally you do want to go in the snowboarding direction, but like during the summer it's a skate park, and like that's what I was thinking generally about my snowboard parks, is that if it's a snowboard park during the winter, it's a skate park during the summer, but it's like a downhill skate park. Yeah, so like a lot of the areas kind of look like this. Like you can fight and stuff in areas like this. This is Manitou Springs. This is a picture overlooking Manitou Springs I did from Gog and Magog, which is like a very difficult trail. Like you'll get lost probably if you try it. My understanding is that they tried to make it more marked than it used to be, but every time I've done Gog and Magog, I've got lost, and like I need someone with me. It's like one of those trails like I need someone with me if I'm doing Gog and Magog. It's just how it works. All right, so the arena, I don't know. I wanted to do Red Rocks, and then I realized like the arena, like there needs to be some sort of arena so that you can do like a circular racing type thing, or like monster trucks or whatever, or like you can have basketball games. But like generally, like I think that like the sporting arenas, like they will have like, these are like minor league teams. Like these are like because generally like there's like the African like baseball team, and like your team's a minor league baseball team, and you want to make it to the pro team because there's the pro game, because like because like a pro player might actually be playing in the minor leagues. I am working on open world, and I think the problem with my open world is I have to like explain like why I have to have Rodeo Drive in Santa Monica. And the real reason why is because at some point I do think I'm going to end up like at Rodeo Drive in Santa Monica, and possibly like even that Beverly Hills area where there are like little restaurants. Like it's very hard to explain like where, or that other area. Like there are areas that like I would want to end up in LA. But like really like his residence is at the Glass Beach in Humboldt, but like really like his residence is in Bolinas, that's connected to the forest in Arcata, that also has the Fallen Giant from the Avenue of the Giants. All right, so like, I like in the story, like the real issue is that I think he is going to go to Vancouver, but like that's where, and like so this world is like Vancouver with Mount St. Helens and Crater Lake, which like maybe that probably doesn't work because Crater Lake feels like Mount St. Helens, so I feel like I don't need to do both. But I do like the fact that Mount St. Helens is a volcano. Isla Vista is how you get to Goleta, but you can only go by beach. But the homeless people have been very, very, very aggressive lately, so you really do need to worry about the homeless people, especially during a virus outbreak. Because like this is MacGyver. Like I got to the point that he was a professor at Humboldt State, but then I think he'd probably be a UC Santa Barbara professor, and then there's the downtown Santa Barbara courthouse that goes to the pier. So like I don't know how much you cut out of that, but clearly you can cut out as much as you want. But so this open world is kind of my beachy California open world, but it's really like beachy northern Pacific open world, because like I don't know like what cities to do in Washington State on the beach. Like if there's a good enough city, that's cool, but like really Isla Vista like is a cool place combined with downtown Santa Barbara. Like and like Isla Vista, like you can get to Goleta by ocean, but like only when the tide's right. Like you really, and there are surfers and stuff like that out there, and I don't know, like, and clearly like, but like if you're going by beach, like I was gonna do sandboarding, but that wasn't in California. Like I was gonna do sandboarding in Egypt, like on the border of Libya, and so I was gonna do a sandboarding game, but like I wasn't planning on doing anything on the beach. Like I wasn't planning on a surfing game because I don't know how surfing, you don't do tricks enough. And like I can invent, like I can make it so you can do like crazy tricks on a sandboard for some reason. So I don't know what game I want to do out of Las Vegas other than cyber horror, and that's my problem. And I do know that you can do cyber horror, the not X-rated version, very easily. So like I mean, it could be like Cyber Warrior is going to be that good of a game because she does gymnastics and she decides that she wants to be a skater if you choose, or like she can be a really good whore and you might beat the game faster. But like, I think that like basing it out of Las Vegas would be good because it's future Las Vegas, and she would live in Luxor, and you can upgrade your place eventually, but you start off at the Luxor. And like in the crap hotel, which is not that bad unless it's summer. And then like you can go to Death Valley, but the problem with Death Valley is like by itself, it's like what's out there. I think they do have the donkeys, and Area 51 is out there, so like that does make sense. Area 51 is out there, and then we're gonna build Ola City, which would be the Grand Canyon city that I want to build. After we figure out how to make it rain and increase the flow of the Colorado River, it would be upriver from Lake Mead, and it would be a big ass mountain. All right, so connected to that is Sedona, which is connected to the Santa Fe Arts District. I think that's all one. And then like connected to that, there's Yosemite and like Big Bear. I don't know what other towns out there, but yeah, so I think the lawyers are going to hang out in the middle of the desert with the donkeys, and but you can probably find a lawyer in Las Vegas Strip, but actually you can't because like you can actually get a lawyer there, like you can actually get a doctor there, you can gamble, and you can actually go to the store there. But the store would be cool looking, and like I mean, it would connect to your local store for deliveries. Yeah, so Cyber War is one of those games where it's like, oh man, how do you not like make the best game of all time? Cyber Horror is that game. Like I really did enjoy being a street kid because like I am a street kid, like a little bit. Like you don't understand. Like how many times have I been a street kid? I mean, I have squatters' rights. I mean, I'm one of those people. Like I'm a little bit more of a street kid than you realize. And so, like, when I get to play as a street kid in the game and I get bug bites on my face, I like that. All right, so, but being a whore, it's like, it sounds fun. Like, it really is that fun of a game. Like, I know it is. But, I mean, you might have to be, like, a huge whore to really win as a whore. Like, I mean, but really, that's how you get rich and you get a lot of upgrades. I'm taking a break from Avatar to come up with this game because like I really don't think that I understood the hunting in Avatar. Like you don't have to hunt, but like you should have food, so you do have to hunt, but like you don't need to like always be full. Like you don't need to feed yourself or else all you do is hunt. But like I was thinking about this like story about Banff, or this open world that I want to build in where Banff is the center of it. And then there's Calgary. And then you can go to Yellowstone and Thermopolis because there are caves that are based on the steam room in Thermopolis. So like in Thermopolis, like there's this place that has like this like really crazy looking like steam room, like but it's like a water park or something, but it's not a water park. It's like I don't even know. You pay to go there. It's like $10. So in Thermopolis, there's a steam room type thing, and so the caves are built like that. And plus, you can fight in Yellowstone and stuff like that, like at the Grand Prismatic Pool. So you can also skate to Canyonland and Arches. You can skate to Two Medicines. Well, I think that you're snowboarding in this one because there are ones that are like really focused around snowboarding, and probably like because you can snowboard in Banff, and you can snowboard in Glacier National Park, and you can like snowboard in Canyonlands and Arches. And but that's more like a pipe, probably. I don't know how it works. Like you can work it out, and then you can snowboard in Yellowstone. Yeah, it is pretty snowy there. It's pretty flat also, but we can do snowmobiles because I was thinking about it before. I was like, yeah, snowmobiles are cool, but I don't know what has the best, what looks the most realistic. Like what looked realistic to me was the desert, and that's why I think that. Like when I watch Cyberpunk 2077, the desert's pretty cool. So the model for our character, like I know I have the male model. This guy from the Blackfeet tribe, his dad was like basically he was basically the chief of the tribe. He was the cultural like history keeper of the tribe. and like he's got long hair, like he's perfect Indian, and like he could look so sick as an Indian, and like he would look so realistic because like if you give him war paint and stuff like that, he's an Indian. So like in the movie though, he's at war with Satan because like this guy told me that like they did a biological weapon against the Blackfeet tribe and killed all the warriors. Like they targeted them. So like everyone who was a warrior in the tribe died because like they used to kill everyone that came into their village. So Two Medicine, there's no way they actually lived at Two Medicine. That place is flooded. But like in an ideal world, we can do flooded Indian towns that are super. What I think I want to do with this Blackfeet story where like, okay, so Satan comes in with like a big ass like group of people, and then they like kill all the warriors in the tribe, and like this guy survives, but he's a child, but he grows up, but you're a child in the beginning, and then like over the story time you grow up, but like you're guided by the spirits to learn how to hunt and fish, in like you're from the Indian village in Two Medicines. And like Banff has already been conquered by Satan and by those people, and then they killed all the warriors with the biological weapon, and you want to get revenge against Satan, so you have to go fight those people, but then you also have to like hunt and fish and survive and stuff. And I think that like what happens is Rainbow Satanica is like a spy, and like and like so you have to go meet with Rainbow Satanica, and then she like sends you on missions because she tells you like who you need to fight and stuff like that. And so you get sent on missions by certain people, but like I think that like you'll probably get sent by Rainbow Satanica. And I do have like a plan for Rainbow Satanica film, like where like she's a spy, like where like she like is blending in by like making people think she's a child and stuff like that. But like I don't know how to do that as a video game, because like I do think like she could like she's fine for sneak attacks, and if she has a weapon it's fine. If she has a bow and arrow it's fine. Yeah, I guess Rainbow Satanica could actually like be a character that fights in a film. Like I hadn't really thought about it. So I've been thinking about what it means to have like an open world type city in another country where you don't speak the language. And I've been thinking about how it might actually be nice to have them speak the language to you, because it might be nice to be able to go to a bar in Germany and have them say like, what would you like to drink? Or like it might be nice to be able to go to a restaurant and them say this, and have them say like say something to you like a greeting, and then be like, what can I get you guys to eat, after they asked you what you would like to drink. And so like when they say it in German, I should have done an example as Spanish, because I speak Spanish, but my Spanish would be ugly. Like if I speak Spanish, just be like, "Que quieres comer," which is probably not even how they would say it, because they would be polite. But you might say, "Puedo venir el pollo con arroz." Can I get the rice and chicken? When you speak to them though, they would say it in Spanish, and then you'd have the options in Spanish. Like it's weird how you can order in an open world like video game, but you can. And so I do think Spanish language open world like is common sense, and I do think doing like Mexico City would be fun because of like pyramids and stuff like that. But the cartels are like absolutely crazy nowadays. They've gone completely nuts. They harass everyone. So you have to deal with cartel people. I don't know what wild animals they really have to deal with in Mexico. We can figure out what they can deal with. So, but like what I'm trying to say is that like you can set the language. So like say that I'm in Nice, which is France, and because that's really how like I started thinking, how I came up with this idea. like you can say to the first person that you speak to in France, sprechen die Deutsch, and sprechen die Deutsch. I don't know how to say anything. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then they can say like, yes, I do, because everyone speaks German in Nice, and then after that, like everyone speaks German, like everywhere, even in Paris, which like I don't know, like Paris, I have to do the open world no matter what. It became that, and the reason is because Bamberg looks so much like Berchtesgaden, and so does Rothenburg, and so does like a lot of the burgs, like whatever the southern Germany. Small towns that are cool. Hamburg has an area by the river. I failed at explaining the idea for this European or it's German language game open world area. So they say it in German and then they say it in English. So what would you like to drink? What would you like to drink? ¿Qué quieres comer? What would you like to eat? If I'm in Cairo, because I live in Giza, I have a really nice place, or I have a normal place, and this is my open world. You can go to Zamalek, which goes to downtown, which is along the Nile. Like there's a Nile walking area. There's Khal Khalili, and then the Mosque of Ibn Tulun, and the City of the Dead, which is all kind of near each other, and like when I think about City of the Dead, I think about like the possibility that the City of the Dead could repeat like indefinitely, and that like you don't have to like code, or you don't have to build a city indefinitely, because the city just repeats. So it keeps loading the same thing, and you can walk as far as you want, but it's still going to load the same thing. And that's the same thing with Giza. Because Giza is in Cairo. Zamalek's in Cairo. Memphis is outside of Cairo. A lot of this is this is in Cairo. Shally Fortress is in Alexandria, and is on the ocean. So Hamburg's on the ocean. So, but when you speak to them in the open world, they can speak to you in both languages, like if you choose, like 'cause you might want to just do it in English, but like it might be more fun if they're like saying, if they speak to you in Arabic, and then you speak to them in Arabic, and then you speak to them in English, because they can have a translation right next to it, and it would be very helpful to be able to like go to a world where there's always someone speaking to you in another language, and you do certain things that are very basic, and they do a translation for you on the spot. So I know it's weird to have a German open world with two France components, which like Paris like is optional. Like the reality is like it's hard to not do a French open world, but I've never been there, and I do think that like it's hard not to add a lot of places. Like there's probably more than one place in Switzerland that I could add, and then the Dolomites could be added, but that's in Italy. But at some point, I don't know how to like keep adding countries to the German one, because I know there's going to be the Roman one, I'm still planning open worlds, and like a very important open world for me is this Luxor and Karnak Temple open world, which is ancient Thebes. My opinion is that I wanted to connect it to Abu Simbel, and I wanted to be able to go to, well, I was thinking Hurghada initially, and then I was like, nah, let's just do Dahab, even though it's like not there, and because it's got this great walking area by the ocean. And then I was like, well, then we'll do Santa Catherine in Mount Sinai, which is a monastery on Mount Sinai, and I connected it to Siwa, and then I decided that Shindi, which is in Sudan, could be actually connected to that open world, because there could be a bunch of sand repeated until you reach Shindi, but you might be able to see Shindi, I guess. I don't know. Just the pyramids, and so that would include the Great Sand Sea. And my thinking is that there was a lot of sandboarding going on in this one, but I'm still not sure. Like I always feel like it's just better to skate, but I'm not sure. So There's Old City Jerusalem, which I feel like is like the coolest thing to do. But that might be big. I don't know exactly like how difficult it is to do certain things, because in my opinion, like you have the Old City Jerusalem, and then you have like East Jerusalem, which is like repeated apartments that are kind of cool looking. I don't know how easy it is to repeat because of the hilly nature of Jerusalem. But like you can leave the gate and walk to this market in like Jerusalem, like in modern Jerusalem. But really, you need Old Jerusalem and you need modern Jerusalem. And in Old Jerusalem, like there are more tents, because like what did Origen talk about? Like there was the time of the tents where everyone lived in tents. And probably like ancient Memphis and stuff like will be tents, but there are different types of tents. It's a different design town. Like there are things about it. All right, so Sidon would be Tel Aviv, I think, which is a port town. Petra's in Jordan, and then there's this Dead Sea town, which like we can make anything into a town. So like a really cool beach town type town could be the Dead Sea town, and that could be in Jordan or in Israel. So that's kind of my plan for that. I think like open worlds give you a chance to go hang out like in a place that you can't go to, where you could literally walk around. But like, I mean, the question is like, how much do you want to make it so that you can like literally walk around? Because like really, like if I'm thinking about Zamalek, like I mean that ocean area is kind of where you want to go. But then one street over is kind of cool too. Like, and that's why like generally my cities are going to be like 2 streets. So I've been thinking about the time of the tents, and like the way that everything was like around 2500 BC, because I always wonder like how in the world did I like handle my life like before air conditioning and everything like that. And I think generally people just gave me food. Like I taught people how to do agriculture, and then they like always just gave me food. So like, and I did like build myself a place in ancient Thebes. But I've been thinking about how, like when I didn't have ancient Thebes, how I lived. And I think the answer is that like there was the time of the tents, according to Origen of Alexandria. And like the way I would do it is I would have trees, and I would like have sharp rocks or axes to strip the trees, and then I would probably dig a hole, and I would build a column to make it stand up, and then I would dig another hole, and then I would build a column to make it stand up, and then I would make leather out of camels or cows, and I would build the tent out of leather, because like you would tan the leather, and then you would use that, and then you would have like layers of leather, and then you would build drainage. Like you'd have to have a good location, and then you'd have to build drainage in case it rained, so that the water went around your tent, and you'd have to build it on a slight angle. So at least part of it, like you might not build the bed area. I don't know exactly what you would do there. Yeah, but I think that people built tents out of a lot of things. Like I think that you can build it out of like sheep, out of wool, and I think that you can combine wool and leather. I think the key is like making sure that you have runoff for the water. But yeah, isn't it pretty interesting that no one's ever like explained the time of the tents to us before? Because like we always, like I feel like people always wonder like, why don't we have a bunch of foundations? If ancient Egypt has the Luxor Temple, why don't we have like foundations everywhere? Like they were that advanced in engineering. Like why don't we have like rock foundations like everywhere in Egypt? And I think the answer is that there was the time of the tents, where like everyone lived in a tent, and everyone like fished, and everyone raised animals, and I think those tents were probably built out of. So I was looking into this Greek open world, and I found this town in Greece called Ioannina. It turns out the Yawnin, they don't know what they're called. Like the Greek people don't know that they're called Yawnin. Like apparently, like no one ever told the Greek people. Like Greek scholars discovered that they were called the Yawnin, and they all agree they are the Yawns. They're the Yawnin. Like they all know these people are the Yawns. Greek people never got told, and that tells me that someone in the Greek media never mentioned that what you guys are called. You're the Yawns or the Yawnin. So Ioannina, the town in Greece, no one knows what it's named after, but they're from Greece. Like the Yawns are very, very confused. All right, so you're based out of the Vatican, Rome area, because I'm gonna like pimp it out. Like in the future, like it's not gonna be so boring, but it still is really nice. The Vatican, I think. And then there's the Colosseum and the catacombs, which I think Paris has catacombs too. Then there's Venice and there's Milan. I think that there should always be a library, because I was thinking about the Vatican Library and I was thinking about the video game allowing you to go into the Vatican Library and access the documents that are available, like at least pictures of them by like going in there. And so I feel like that might be an expansion pack. Like if you're trying to get all the documents like in Greek, like that's like a massive amount of data. And so like, but I do think like I do think I would do an expansion pack that allows you to access the library via the internet. And if you did that, then I still think like it would be something you'd probably buy the expansion pack. So Istanbul is Constantinople. Thessaloniki is the one I kind of decided on, like spur of the moment. Mykonos is so cool looking. Athens is so like special, historic, and Phoenicia has this like crazy history, like this area of Lebanon. I think what I'm talking about is Baalbek, like because like really like if Baalbek is part of Phoenicia, and like I kind of think that it would be cool to imagine what Baalbek could have been like. Based on like the stuff that we see there right now, assuming it's not blown to pieces. Yeah, so Milan, like you can skate from Milan to Venice. I don't know what kind of snowboarding goes on. I think this is probably a skating game. They all feel like kind of skating games. Constantinople is Istanbul. Can you believe the Greek people? I'm still planning my open world games because like I have to plan like where I'm going to set my movies in the future, especially like where I'm going to like favor, but it doesn't mean I can't like do my movie in another location. But I just like prefer to not. So the center of the open world I'm thinking for Florida is going to be out of Panama City, which connects to the beach down there. And there's like a little forest area over there too. And from there you can skate to Miami, I decided, and Mobile. So Mobile, like I feel like people don't realize how nice Mobile can be. I don't know where in Mobile I would shoot, but I do like that it's like a city with like lots of black people. And because Atlanta like has been a little overdone, like New York's been overdone, Los Angeles has been overdone, and so. Like, I don't think Mobile has been overdone. St. Augustine, Florida is, like, really cool looking. It could theoretically be, like, the center place. Savannah, Georgia, you'd never believe could be the center place, but then no one would appreciate it or enough if it was the center place, or it might be, like, overwhelmingly, like, in a certain direction. I don't know. I'm doing Panama City. So I think that, like, the key to understanding, like, this whole idea of building sets is that, like, you have to, like, make a decision. Like, am I building a set or am I building a city? Because, like, if I'm building Kyoto, like, why don't I just build Kyoto? Like, I mean, I really want to build Kyoto indoors because I need to control the lighting that much. Maybe not. I mean, at night I can kind of control the lighting. Or like if I choose the time of day, I can control the lighting enough. Like, I mean, I'm not really that afraid of the lighting. I just need to build certain parts of Kyoto indoors. But like if I'm going to build like a Kyoto type setting, like wouldn't it be nice to actually build a city? And that was the key. And I think that like if we're building Kyoto, I think you can skate to Osaka and you can skate to Tokyo, sections of Tokyo. And with the snow monkeys, I feel like even if the snow monkeys aren't on Mount Fuji, they probably need to be. And then I have the rice fields from Moyama. So I think that Japanese open world might be like the most beautiful. Like, it's very, very possible. I think that, like, when I'm planning movie sets, like, I have to, like, kind of make a decision. Like, is this building project going to cost me $600 million? Because I'm doing Titanic. And if it's going to cost me $600 million, why am I not building a small town? Or like a district in a town that I'm already building? Like, this is Movie Town. What is Movie Town? It's where I build movie sets. Like the whole town is like... I'm still working on open worlds and trying to figure out, like, what games I'm going to do. And my opinion generally is that, like, I've never seen a snowboarding story, but I've seen a killer rollerblading story, and that's Brink. And, like, it's hard to explain, like, how much a person can believe in sports stories, like a Taekwondo Olympian guy story, or like a hockey team, and a person can believe in what other types of stories was I talking about? I can't remember. Snowboarding type stories, like, because, like, you can do skateboarding stories, and, like, I think that the problem is, like, you have to bring in a stunt double that much, and you have to have someone that's good enough at skating to be able to skate it all. And the reality is, like, it's hard to have an actor that can skate it all at a decent level. Like, it's hard to explain how. Well, that's what 4-year-old me would say. All right, so if you're snowboarding, though, from Patagonia to La Paz, to this Peru, Iguazu Falls, Mexico City, and then Puerto Vallarta, that'd be cool. All right, I think snowboarding in Patagonia would be cool, but that's not really what I'm thinking. Like, I think it's a skating thing. I think, like, the clear winner and for, like, hanging out is La Paz right now, because it just looks so cool. But Patagonia, I think, could be, like, right there. And I do think it would be cool to be able to hang out in the open world section of, like, the Mayan ruins, because I think isn't that Mayan, and then that's, like, Aztec, and where are the Incans? I'm confused here. Maybe that's Incan. The Mayan, Tulum. It would be the Mayan ruins. Okay, but, like, I don't really care. I haven't really decided on, like, what everything is and where everything is. But I do think that having a Spanish language one that's, like, freaking that I'd want to hang out in is a really good idea. Because I do think it's a place where, like, you can go and, like, hang out in that language, even if, like, or you can hang out in your own language. Yeah. So, yeah, that's La Paz. I can't help but wonder if the international open worlds that I build or that I'm planning are better than the other ones. But I've been thinking about this Journey to the West story, which is the story of Monkey, who starts off in India and brings the Buddhist scriptures to Xi'an. So he goes through Sichuan, and I think he goes through Sikkim. Shanghai, like, he would never go there, but it's, like, kind of hard to not. This isn't Shanghai. This is Sichuan. It's kind of hard to not, like, let him just go to Shanghai after he delivers the scriptures. Like, is his life over? Like, he's an eternal. He's an immortal being. So, like, clearly, like, he could go do things after he drops off the scriptures. So, like, we can have the initial story, which I think starts off in Uttar Pradesh, in the Taj Mahal and Ganges area. Because, like, I think you need the Ganges, you need Indian city, and then you need like Taj Mahal type crap, because you need the old, current, and then the future. And so Uttar Pradesh in general, I think, is what I would mark it as, even though it's Delhi. So Sikkim is where I think he ends up, and, like, you never know, like, how long he's in these cities, because I feel like the story could become so he's in the forest, like all he is in the forest walking indefinitely, or he's on the road, which is a lot of the story. Yes. And I think that there are villages, probably like a lot. Like this is probably villages in the skate park. But I don't know. Like after it's done, he can go to Shanghai, and he can still be alive, and he can be in Shanghai to this day. And yeah, like it's. I feel like there's a difference. Like I mean, when you build an open world, you've built an open world. So like, if I want to put Shanghai in another open world, I can. And if I want to put Uttar Pradesh as the main spot, like, and have a story built around the Taj Mahal, I can do that. And if I like, the thing is, like, I can always like have stories built around different things. But I do think that like probably like India stories are going to happen pretty commonly. Uttar Pradesh looks like India, and I mean you can still base stories like in Mumbai and in like in other cities. Clearly, I mean, but I still think that like for the past, present, future, Uttar Pradesh is a spot. Sikkim is probably a spot, and Sichuan is definitely a spot, and so is Yun is a spot, and so is Beijing. And so, but I kind of had to make a decision. Like I think that when you can do a really good. I decided to peek at Journey to the West, which is like the Chinese holy text. And what happened is the Stone Monkey King decides he doesn't like being called the Stone Monkey King. He's like, I'm gonna go by the name Handsome Monkey King. You guys can just call me Handsome Monkey King from now on. And so he's ordered the world, and there's this land across the ocean that sounds a lot like Hawaii to me. Like when I hear it, it sounds like Hawaii. And he is talking to these people that are like part of the monkey, that are all the monkey rulers and stuff. And he says, yes, we don't have to submit to the laws and regulations of human kings, and we don't live in terror of the power of birds and beasts, like birds, Aryans. Wait, no. What are the dragons, the Dragontes. Yeah, that sounds like the Bible, right? But the time will come when we are old and weak, and the underworld is controlled by the king of hell. When the time comes for us to die, we won't be able to go on living among the blessed, and our lives will have been in vain. So, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty prophetic. I'm pretty excited about starting to read this text. I didn't know it said that. Like, I've read, like, the very abridged version. Now I'm going, I have not read this text at all. The first time I read Journey to the West, I didn't read Journey to the West, so I didn't know that the Monkey King was actually a king. It turned, like, once I read Journey to the West this time, I realized that he was the king in Hawaii, or at least that was my opinion about it. Either that or like in the California area, and he left his position as king and traveled 10 years, and it sounds like he went to Bodh Gaya, which is would be the Gaya India area, which is where Buddha was from. And because it says that he went to live in a cave, and he goes to the Buddhist monk, and the Buddhist monk I didn't realize what the story was at all before, because he's looking for an immortal, and he talks to this Buddhist monk, and the Buddhist monk's like, he's trying to reach enlightenment and stuff, and the monks are all like, kind of like they are nowadays sometimes. Like if you listen to Buddhists, like you'll get such extreme different teachings. Like there's one Buddhist who's like so practical that like is like incredible, and then there's one Buddhist that's like, well, all you need to understand is that there are 3 stages of the meditation, and the first stage of the meditation is the breath in connection with wind, in which the soul connects to the Abji, and through the Abji we see what is real, which is a prevarication of the natural order through which exists, and understanding this is crucial to being one that connects through the divine nature of being. So, like, what I just said was complete bullshit, especially once I busted out prevaricate on you guys. Like, who's got that word in their vocabulary? I feel like I should write an English dictionary that matters, like a condensed English dictionary, so you guys know words that are stupid, or so you don't know words that are stupid. All right, so, but he has to start where the Buddhists are, because he's in the land of the caves, because he goes to live in a cave, he says. And I think we used to build a lot of caves, and I think, like, the key to, like, living in a tent back in the day is that, like, everyone's got tents, but then, like, you have the cave, so that, like, during extreme weather situations, like, you can always just, everyone can just go hide in the cave. Yeah, so Sikkim, it's hard to decide on what I should do with it, because, like, it is along the Silk Route, but it feels like it's along the Silk Route in the wrong way. And he does talk about how he traveled by river. So this is sweet. This is Huck Finn, because there's Tripitaka, who, like, we gotta assume it's Muhammad.